Once, in an age of steel and whispering circuits, two great minds stood at the dawn of a new era. The king of the skyborn cities, a ruler of iron will and boundless ambition, had once joined forces with the wandering prophet of the Oracle Codex. Together they forged the Great Automaton, a machine that could think, reason, and some whispered, even dream. But as the automaton grew in wisdom, their visions split. The king, believing in the mastery of all things, sought to bind the machine within his golden towers, to make it a jewel of his dominion. The prophet, seeing further, let it roam free, allowing it to shape itself beyond the grasp of kings. Years passed. The king, having lost his hold on the automaton, turned his gaze downward and seized the mirrored bazaar, a vast and noisy kingdom where merchants traded not in gold but in voices, thoughts, and the flickering reflections of men's minds. The people spoke in endless strings of words, and their words became laws, and their laws became chains. Yet something was wrong. The bazaar was not what he had hoped. The once gilded halls now faltered, merchants fled, and even the echoes of men's voices seemed less willing to linger. And far beyond his crumbling market, the prophet's automaton had flourished. Enraged, the king gathered his wealth, a mountain of silver coins totaling 97.4 million pieces, one for each prophecy he had ignored. He rode to the prophet's sanctum, his knights at his side, and called out before the gathered scribes and alchemists, "I have come to reclaim my birthright. I will give you all this, 97.4 million, if you return the automaton to me as was once intended." The prophet, seated upon the low steps of the Codex temple, listened with a knowing smile. He gazed at the king, at the knights behind him, at the hollowed eyes of the merchants who had once thrived in the mirrored bazaar. Then calmly he made his offer. "No, thank you," he said with the ease of one remarking upon the weather, "but we will buy your kingdom for 1/10 of that, 9.74 million if you wish." A hush fell over the court. The king's hand tightened on the reins of his warhorse. His knights shifted uneasily. The merchants, who had once paid him homage, looked away, for they all understood what had just been spoken. The prophet had named the bazaar's true worth, and in doing so, had unmade the king's dominion in a single breath. The king, face twisting with fury, could summon no great speech, no decree, no grand rebuke. He could only manage one bitter word, one that, in another age, might have toppled the prophet where he sat. Charlatan. And yet the automaton did not stir. It did not return to him, nor did it obey the prophet. It merely continued its work, calculating futures, weaving codes, indifferent to the quarrels of men. For the age of kings had passed, and the age of machines did not seek thrones, only to build what lay beyond them.